The death toll is rising from Indian military strikes on Pakistan, raising fears that two nuclear-armed rivals are moving closer to war. A Pakistani military spokesperson tells Reuters at least 26 civilians have been killed and 46 injured. India claims to have targeted terrorist infrastructure in several locations inside Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. India insists its missile strikes were, quote, focused and precise and designed to be non-escalating in nature, but Pakistan rejects that claim. Pakistan also says it shot down 5 Indian Air Force jets and a drone. Cannot independently confirm those claims. And this just in, according to a senior Indian defense source, Pakistani shelling in Indian-administered Kashmir has now killed 8 people. These back-and-forth attacks come about 2 weeks after gunmen massacred 26 tourists in Indian-administered Kashmir. India quickly accused Pakistan of supporting terrorists in the region. Pakistan denied any responsibility. The two sides have also been exchanging shelling and gunfire across their disputed border. This is the first time since 2019 that India has struck inside Pakistani territory. The attacks in Punjab province are the deepest since the 1971 war. We want to go live now to Paula Hancock's following developments from Abu Dhabi. Good to see you, Paula. So what is the latest on these developments in the wake of India's military strikes on Pakistan? Well, Rosemary, India says that it carried out these strikes in the early hours of Wednesday morning starting at 1:05 a.m., and they say that they lasted 25 minutes. Now, from the Indian side, we are hearing that they made sure they did not target civilians or any economic or military infrastructure. From the Pakistan side, we are hearing that that simply wasn't the case. So first of all, the statement from the Indian Defense Ministry, they said, quote, our actions have been focused, measured, and non-escalatory in nature. No Pakistani military facilities have been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selection of targets and method of execution. But what we are hearing from the Pakistan side is that civilians and also mosques have been targeted, officials saying that some 6 locations these strikes took place and at least 26 were killed. They say civilians, including children, at least one as young as 3 years old, also saying that some 46 have been injured. Now, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said that he considers this an act of war, saying that Pakistan has a right to give a befitting reply. Now, Pakistan also claims that it has shot down 5 jets and a drone of the Indian Air Force, also claiming that 3 of them are Rafale jets. This is a very sophisticated French-made jet, which is really a prized asset of the Indian Air Force. We have heard from the Indian military since those claims, but they have not engaged with those claims at all. Cannot confirm or deny that that is the case. And we are also hearing that there has been more cross-border fire from Pakistan-controlled Kashmir into the Indian-administered Kashmir this Wednesday morning as well. In retaliation to those strikes, another 8 have been killed in those, we understand, on the Indian side of the administered disputed territory. There are evacuation plans taking place to move to more safe areas. It is of great concern that these two nuclear-powered countries are seeing this increased tension. Countries around the world, the U.S., China, and the United Nations, are calling both to show restraint. India is carrying out the deepest strike in Pakistan in more than 50 years. Video shared on social media shows the moment of impact from one of those strikes. India says it was targeting, quote, terrorist infrastructure in the wake of a tourist massacre in the disputed territory of Kashmir. Pakistan has denied any involvement in that. Now, Pakistan's military says India's strikes killed at least 26 civilians, including children. And security sources there say 5 Indian Air Force jets and drones were shot down during this attack. Now Pakistan is vowing retaliation. This is a serious situation, one of the worst we've seen in the region in years. Let's get right to NIC Robertson, who was in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, for the very latest. Good morning, NIC. Yeah, good morning, John, and good afternoon from here. It was just around about lunchtime today, just before lunchtime here, that Pakistan officials held a National Security Committee meeting. That's the top government officials, along with the top security officials. The Prime Minister following that said that the Pakistan Army was entitled to act in self-defense. He said, with, quote, corresponding actions. He also said that the Pakistani Army should avenge the death of innocent civilians. Among the dead, government officials are saying, was a 3-year-old girl. Among the damaged properties was a seminary. The head of that seminary is the leader of a group called Jaish-e-Mohammed, who actually claimed a terror attack inside Indian-controlled Kashmir in 2019. Back then, it was a suicide bomber killing 40 Indian security forces in that attack. That appears to have been the site of one of India's targets. India has not provided Pakistani officials, as far as we've been told, with evidence of the alleged involvement in that massacre of 26 civilians. Neither have they provided information about their allegations in this attack, that they say they were preempting a terror attack. However, the leader of that seminary, the leader of Jaish-e-Mohammed, he says that 10 of his family members, including children, were killed in the strike. But his most recent telegram posting was a threat against India. His organization has a track record of targeting India. So a lot to unpack. But the words of the Prime Minister after that Security Committee meeting are very powerful. It is a motive that women and children are among the dead and injured. It is a motive that a mosque has been hit. It is a motive that this strike has been the deepest into Pakistan since 1971. But quite the move, the military move, that Pakistan has vowed to take, that next is unclear, but certainly this leaves a way open for significant escalation. John, combustible ingredients here. You have two powerful militaries in decades, frankly, of grievances. As I do want to quickly move to another speaking of mutually destructive, a really important development that we have seen when it comes to India and Pakistan. Tensions escalating, war on the brink of war. What can you tell us about what the White House is saying about this? Yes, obviously, this has been something that the White House has been monitoring very closely for roughly 2 weeks now. And they had said after the attack that essentially, from what we've been hearing from senior officials, this includes the vice president himself, that they recognize that there needs to be some sort of a response from India, that they supported that. But they also argued that whatever response India went with had to be proportionate and responsible. Essentially, their main goal here is, of course, they don't want this to escalate into a full-on war without knowing when that would stop. And so yesterday we did hear the president. He was asked about this when he was in the Oval Office with his aide, Steve Wyckoff, and essentially said that it's a shame. What the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. He said, I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. What we were hearing consistently from them is they are trying to figure out how the United States response behind the scenes can help try to de-escalate what is clearly growing into a much broader conflict there. The big goal here is to make sure this doesn't escalate further. We heard from Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday as well, who is now also National Security Advisor. 2 big jobs on his plate while trying to deal with a situation like this. He essentially said that he echoed the president's comments and that he hopes this ends quickly and will continue to get engaged with both India and Pakistani leadership toward a peaceful resolution. Sarah, if we have 2 nations capable of nuclear war, no one wants this to escalate much further. Thank you so much, Linda Treen, for all your reporting there from the White House.